let me ask you something. What if the most powerful tool for building a truly high-performing team wasn't some new software or a complex spreadsheet, but a blueprint for emotion? Today, we're digging into something called emotional leadership. It's a whole different way of thinking that goes way beyond just managing tasks to actually architecting real commitment.
So what is the secret sauce, for a truly high-performing organization? Is it about having the sharpest strategy, the biggest budget? Well, the evidence we're looking at suggests it's something a lot more human. Turns out, the answer lies in the emotional landscape of your team.
So, here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, we're going to tackle the core challenge itself. Then, we'll introduce this idea of emotions as your leadership compass. From there, we'll look at mastering your own internal world before we get into how you can actively start architecting your team's emotional climate. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with some key takeaways you can use right away.
All right, let's dive in with the big goal. Part 1, the High Performance Challenge. You can think of this as the North Star for pretty much every leader out there.
You see, when you boil it all down, every single leadership skill we try to develop should be pointed at this one thing: building an environment where people can do their absolute best work together. I mean, that's the whole point, right?
So, if that's the destination, how in the world do we get there? Well, this brings us to our second section, your leadership compass. And that compass, it's emotion. That's the key that's going to unlock all that potential and performance.
Okay, so let's get a clear definition here. Emotional leadership. Now, this is not about being emotional at work. It's about being emotionally intelligent. It really comes down to mastering two things. First, learning how to read the emotions in yourself and in other people. And second, being able to manage those emotions to build deep, genuine commitment. Because that commitment, that's the fuel for high performance.
So, what kind of skills are we talking about here? Well, first up, it's about perception. The ability to read those subtle, nonverbal cues that tell you what people are really feeling. Second, it's a mindset shift. You have to start treating emotions not as noise, but as crucial data that actually drives behavior. And finally, it's about having cultural awareness, really understanding the unique emotional currents that are flowing through your specific organization.
But here's the thing, before you can even begin to read the emotional landscape of your team, you have got to learn how to navigate your own. And that brings us to part 3, mastering your inner world.
Inside, every leader is navigating this constant balancing act between two states. On one side, you've got opening. This is when you're being expressive, receptive, letting emotions flow. On the other side, you've got inhibition. That's when you're holding back, restraining those responses. Now, effective leadership isn't about just picking one. It's about understanding your own default setting and knowing when to open up to connect and when to inhibit a reaction to keep things stable.
And think about this other internal dynamic, that classic duo of thinking versus feeling. Our culture, it tends to put pure logic up on a pedestal. But emotional leadership, it demands that we treat our intuition, our feelings, as an equally valid stream of data. The absolute best decisions aren't just logical. They integrate emotional data to understand the real human impact.
Okay, so once you start to get a handle on your own inner world, you can turn your focus outward. And this is where we get to the most active, hands-on part of this whole concept, architecting your team's emotions. This is where you consciously shape the emotional climate around you. The process really breaks down into 3 active steps. First, you generate feelings. Sparking enthusiasm in a kickoff meeting or creating a sense of psychological safety. Second, you express your own emotions deliberately to set the team's tone. And third, you help change the emotional state, guiding the team from, say, frustration to focus or from anxiety to confidence.
So let's bring all this together into a final blueprint, okay? These are the key takeaways you can put into action pretty much the second this is over.
So if you only take one single thing away from all of this, please let it be this. Your ability to accurately read human expression is the absolute foundation of leadership. Everything else, everything is built on top of it. Without this skill, you are flying blind. You simply cannot manage what you do not see.
This is not just some nice-to-have soft skill. It is the fundamental building block of performance. Seriously, just like a skyscraper needs a rock-solid foundation, a high-performing team needs a leader who can truly perceive its emotional reality.
And that leaves us with one final thought. You see, leadership is an active choice. You are an architect, whether you realize it or not. So I want you to think about tomorrow. When you walk into that office or log onto that call, what feeling, what emotion do you want to build? Will it be confidence, maybe curiosity, or determination? The choice and the tools to build it are yours.